Welcome everybody to Scheller Family Experience, and if you want to know what motocross racing costs, I'm going to let you know right here. So let's get all into it. Motocross racing is expensive. We got into this about 2 years ago. I've always been into motorsports. I raced jet skis growing up. I rode snowmobiles. I never did motocross. My wife's family, they were always into motocross. And about 2 years ago, we really just dove right into it. We had a lot of friends doing it. They were traveling. Really loved the lifestyle of it. It's a great family environment. Everybody supports one another. We've made some amazing friends in motocross, and we just love the lifestyle of it. You're camping every weekend, or you're day racing, whatever it may be. It's a lot of fun, and we're making a lot of great memories with our kids. And I know when I was racing jet skis for about 5 years with my dad and my mom and my family, it was some of the best memories I had growing up. So I'm hoping this will be the same for our kids. We're having a blast doing it. So let's talk about what it costs, because that is one thing that I get a lot of from people when I tell them we race. They go, man, I bet it's expensive. So we're going to talk about exactly what those costs are. Now, we've been racing 50s, 65s, and 85s. We're in Northern California, so some of these prices can vary state to state depending on where you're at. So, for example, California bikes usually are a lot more because we have a lot more taxes, things like that. Our fuel is pretty expensive here. It's California. So first of all, you're going to need a bike. To get into the bikes, you of course could get used, which is what we did. We bought some used bikes and got into it with the used bikes to kind of test it to see if the kids really enjoyed it. You can pick up a used, 50, 65, even maybe an 85 in the $3,000 range, $3,500, one that's not all clapped out, something that is rideable. But what I noticed, especially with the 50s, because they are high maintenance and very temperamental, you end up throwing a lot of parts at them. So after that, we started buying new. So test it out, get some used bikes, and hopefully you're a good mechanic or you have a good mechanic nearby, because these bikes require maintenance. Racers probably maintain bikes the best. A lot of people say, oh, don't buy race bikes. But I will tell you, learning from experience, racers maintain bikes better than anybody else out there. So bike costs, brand new. Used bikes, like I said, $3,000, $4,000 range. Brand new 50s and 65s are typically in the $5,500 to $6,500 range. And your 85s are in that $7,000 range, $7,000 to $8,000 range. Of course, I'm big on suspension. Next, you're going to get your suspension for your bike. Suspension to me is very, very important. My kids are lightweight, so we have to change the suspension up to match their weight. Suspension, I think, is a safety thing. One, it makes them faster, but two, it's a safety. If they hit wrong and their suspension doesn't work right, it could kick them off the bike, cause them to crash. So typically our suspension costs us about $1,200. Now, I've heard some people paying as much as $1,800 and some paying $500 or $800. So it depends on who you go with. Next, you're going to need all those little miscellaneous things that the bike needs. Whole shot device, silencer, bar, handlebars, throttle. So you're going to spend another $500,000 into the bike just to get it to that point. And then you're going to need spare parts. We bend bars or break something. So spare parts, you're going to have hundreds of dollars in spare parts. We just got off of 50s, and I think I had about $1,000 to $1,500 in spare parts. The other thing is having a backup bike. So we typically have two bikes, a practice bike and a race bike. And then that practice bike is also a backup bike. So be prepared to maybe even get into it that far. It just depends on what level you want to get into this at. We're racing regional and, playing in the national level races, but we're not full-timers. Our kids aren't homeschooled, so we're doing this on the weekends. But those national kids that are homeschooled, this is all they do. So you're going to have, like I said, $5,500 to $8,000 into the bikes and probably another $2,000 in suspension and parts. onto the bike, not including, another $500 to $1,000 in spare parts. So you're also going to have tires. You're going to need tires. They're about $50 a piece. Your oil filters, filter cleaner, and all your miscellaneous tools and chemicals, toolbox, all of that just to be able to work on the bikes and maintain them. There's all different levels to this too. Some just go with the bare necessities. If they break, they break. Some like to be prepared like me. I want to make sure I keep my kids racing. Gear-wise, you're going to have to gear up your kids as well. So helmets, you can run a $100 helmet. You can run a $1,000 helmet. My view is your kid's head is a very delicate thing. The brain is very, very delicate. So I spent a lot of money on that. We run the 6D helmets, one of the best helmets out there. Bell's another very good helmet. Fly Fox has their higher end helmets that are very, very good. So I think the helmet is a very important aspect of it. The 6D helmets run $500 to $800 depending on your kid's head size. Chest protector, we run Liats. They're about $150. Jersey and pants, $80 to $100 for the two. Gloves, $10 to $20. Boots, $150 to $250. Goggles, $20 to $200. So there's just a wide range of what you can spend on your kids' gear. And remember, a lot of times, we've got like a half a dozen goggles for each kid because we've got different lenses. They get dirty, they get beat up. Same with gear. We have 2 or 3 pairs of gear because they might get muddy. We have a mutter. We want to change them out. Helmets. We just have one helmet. They do have a backup helmet now. But so just in your gear alone, right there, you're going to be, another $1,000 to $2,000 just in your kids' gear, depending on the level that you want to invest in that. You're going to need fuel for every weekend. Some of the race bikes, like the Cobras, they really like the race fuel. That race fuel tends to run about $20 a gallon to $25 a gallon. C50, I think it's about $125 for 5 gallons versus pump fuel that you're paying, $5 a gallon. We run avgas, so it's usually about $5 to $6 a gallon. Again, it's all at what level you want to race at. The next thing you've got is your entry fees. Entry fees depends on how many kids you got racing, depends on how many classes you want to race. Right now, my oldest is racing 3 classes. He's racing 65 age group, 65 open, and 85. So typically, registration fees are anywhere from $40 to $50. There's a race coming up. We're not doing it. That's $80 per class. So typically our kids are racing 4 or 5 classes combined, 2 to 3 each. So just in registration fees, we're $160 to $200. Then you have, entry for mom and dad, or maybe you have siblings that are just going to watch. A lot of times that's like $20. You have camping fees that could be $20, $30, $40. So just entry fees, camping fees, all of that, we could have, anywhere from $300 to $500 for a weekend. Then, of course, you've got your RV. Are you going to RV it? Are you going to, stay in a hotel? Are you going to just day race? All of our tracks are 2 hours away from us, so we camp a lot. And so we have a motorhome and a trailer. So we've invested into a trailer, invested into a motorhome we had before we got into racing. If you're going to just motovan it or do a trailer, enclosed trailer, then you've got your hotel fees. I don't really count food because you're going to eat whether you're at home or whether you're camping. It tends to be a little more, some people are partying, they're drinking alcohol on the weekends at the races. So you might be spending some money on alcohol as well. But all in all, just for us to go to a weekend of racing, we typically spend about $1,000. Just the RV and fuel is about $200 to $250 for the RV fuel. You got propane. When we come back, we got to dump the RV, sewer. We have maintenance on the RV. the fuel for the bikes, the oil for the bikes, and everything that goes into it. We roughly budget about $1,000 for a race weekend. Now, some are a little more expensive. Like I said, there's a race coming up down in Mesquite, Nevada, that's $80 per class, which is one of the most expensive races I've ever seen. We're not going to that one, unfortunately. It's about a 10-hour drive, so that can be a very expensive race. For us in California, I know people that went to Texas for some national races that were spending excess of $10,000 for them to go down there, race, and come back, fuel and everything. You want to go race Loretta, your kid's fast and wants to go cross country to race the Loretta race. I know people that are spending $15,000, $20,000 just to go race at that race. They might hit some training facilities on the way, but that's what I'm talking about. There's all different levels of commitment here. We race the local races along with some national stuff. We've done the Loretta qualifiers. Our kids just qualified for regionals. Our kids have qualified for Mammoth, so we do Mammoth. So there's all different levels. If you're close to tracks and you can just day race and just hit you're saving on camping fees, you're saving on fuel, and you're saving money. But this gives you an idea of what some of the costs are to get into this sport. It's not a cheap sport. And then on top of that, you've got your AMA memberships. You've got your Metaflight every year. So we pay for a Metaflight, if our kids get hurt. Your health insurance, you want to up your health insurance. It's a very dangerous sport. So there's just a lot to consider when racing and to do it properly. But there's, of course, all different levels of racing. So hopefully this was informative to you. Let us know what you think. Make sure you hit subscribe. We love racing. We're enjoying it. We're having fun. We love the people that we're racing with. And if you're thinking about getting into it, feel free to reach out to me. Happy to help you out. This is what we've learned in the 2 years we've been racing, and hope it helps you out as well. Thanks for watching.